Why we love stories. We've covered a 5-step, very simple story structure. You've had a table exercise. We've recapped, and now we're coming in for the close with a story of a local hero, a big surprise, and a message to cap it all off. The local hero story. This story starts with me. And here's another thing. You are never the hero of your own story. So you tell us, wouldn't that be a weird story? And then I did this, and then I did that. That would be a bad story, right? We're never the hero of our own story. This is me when I'm about the age that I got that book, 8 years old. Now, I never got to take ballet lessons, but my dad bought me this little ballerina outfit, and I would tiptoe around the backyard in the cracks. What I really wanted to do was to learn to tap dance, because every now and then, on a Saturday afternoon, I got to watch an hour of Shirley Temple reruns. If you know who Shirley Temple is, raise your hand. Now, why was Shirley Temple so famous, Jake?
I don't know, but she has a drink.
Oh, she has a drink. You're so right about that. That the drink was named after Shirley Temple because, of course, she was a little girl. This was during the 30s, the Great Depression. Shirley Temple became an international superstar. Think of the biggest star that you know, bigger than that. The whole world knew who she was. She could tap dance like it was nobody's business. She could sing and act. She was a triple threat. And through the Great Depression, one of the darkest times in our history, she lifted people's hopes, just like FDR did. They were really good friends, by the way, and gave them, with her cheerful demeanor, a reason to smile. I wanted to be the new Shirley Temple of the 60s. This was my Shirley Temple dream. I convinced my mom to take me to a tap class, and I still remember that class as if it was yesterday on a wood floor like this one, big mirror in the back, all the little girls in a row in our black tap shoes. But I got home, and Mom said, no more tap. It's too noisy. And it is noisy. But behind the scenes, what was really happening is that my parents' marriage was starting to unravel. And she knew there was no way that a young mother with 4 children under the age of 10, she wouldn't have time to be carting any of us off to lessons of any kind. Our life was about to change in a big, big way. That was the end of my Shirley Temple dreams. Until 4 months ago, I took up a sport called pickleball. The second time I'm at the pavilion, the Blackburn Pavilion, I meet a woman, who you'll meet momentarily, named Patsy, with an amazing smile and a laugh to match. After we played pickleball, Patsy said to me, for some unknown reason, I thought maybe it was because of fancy footwork. Turns out she asks everybody this question. Have you ever clogged? What's clogging? She said, well, it's kind of like tap dance. We get together at this place called the Clogging Place on Highway 9. At that point I said, oh, the Clogging Place? You mean this clogging place on Highway 9? Now, I have driven by the sign every day for 20 years, and I've always wondered what goes on at the clogging place. You wondered that too? Okay. In my mind, maybe something like this. Or this. But it turns out neither of those. The clogging place is the inspiration of this woman, Bev Ruth. She wears this shirt, clogging makes me happy, and it does. And she believes that it can make you happy too. When Beth was about my age, around 60, she heard about clogging, and she wanted to learn how. But the only lessons available were all the way down in Burien. Now, Bev has been blind since birth, so she needed to convince someone to drive her all the way down to these lessons. So once a week, she and a friend would go down to Burien to learn how to clog. Bev would tape record the lessons, bring them back home, learn the steps, and then she started teaching them to others. Over the years, her cohort of cloggers grew from this many. Here's a few, and all these are from the shows that they did. They performed shows for service organizations, retirement homes, and private parties, to a grand number of 14 people. And that token man in the middle, when I met him, he still comes to lessons, by the way, he says this: "My name is Pat. That's tap, spelled backwards." Now you won't forget, and I never have. So you can meet Pat if you decide to try out clogging/towning. This is my wonderful teacher, Patsy Stracilla. Tessa is a woman that I met in a hip-hop class, yo-yo, yes, I do that too, at the Y, who I asked the same question that Patsy asked me. "Hey, have you ever tried clogging?" So she comes now too. Now there's a new generation of clogging heroes in the teachers that we have. And if my two clogging heroes can come up to the front of the room so that I can introduce you. Remember that big surprise I talked about? Remember that big surprise? Yes. Here they are, and we have crafted, this is our first show. This is our first official show. It's a 90-minute. I hope you're canceling your appointments this afternoon. 90-second dance for you. We crafted it with a little bit of country and a little bit, since we knew the 4th of July was coming up, so there's a little bit of patriotism for you. And there's somebody who's going to start our music file in a second, but don't go away after this, because remember that message I told you about? Important to have a message in your story. You will hear that at the very, very end. All right, hold on just a second. Don't touch that dial until, okay, all right.
Thanks for good laughter yesterday video. Hit it, man. Hit it, maestro. Or not. Go.
for being our first ever audience. And as you can see, you don't need to be perfect. You just have a flair for fun, a willingness to learn. All the dances are called, so as you learn, as you teach, and you watch as you do. So you don't have to memorize a single thing. Again, Bev wants you to know that if you want to come to the Clogging Plays on Highway 9, you can get 2 lessons for free. We'll be there this Saturday at 9 a.m. in the beginner's class. All right, and finally, your message. Tapping back to the Shirley Temple tree. Oh my gosh. When your dreams come back around, no matter what age, dive in with both feet.
Rebecca, thank you. That